Right. Good morning, good afternoon. Okay, so I'm live on Instagram as well. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining me on the planet. My name is June Allen, and I am the founder of the Art of Greatness at juneallen.net. So if this is the first time that you are joining my broadcast, I am a therapist, I'm an entrepreneur, I am a coach, I'm a writer, a speaker, all of these things, and I am here today to talk about what to do if you can't afford therapy. Okay, in the UK, we're in the middle of a cost of living crisis. There's loads of stuff going on. Hi, thanks for joining. Loads of stuff going on in terms of our money, and so there's lots of conversations around. Well, can you still afford to do therapy? What are you going to do? How are you going to take care of your well-being? With all of this stuff going on, should you stop seeing a therapist or whatever? All of these conversations and questions are really beginning to gain traction now with everything happening. And obviously, with the 1st of October being tomorrow in the UK, there's a lot of stuff around the energy people, the utility companies that are going to be raising their prices. It's going to be a lot more expensive to use. Hi Gloria, thanks for joining. There's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot more expensive to use your gas and electric in the UK from tomorrow. So a lot of people are worrying. A lot of people are trying to pull in their belts. A lot of people are trying to figure out what they're going to do in terms of budgeting and all the rest of it, but at the same time thinking about how they're going to look after yourself. So if that's you, if you're worrying about what you should do around your well-being and therapy, today's session is for you. Okay, if you've got any questions at all about anything that I have that I share with you today, you can click the link in my bio and go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. And anything that I share, you'll be able to find all of the resources and whatever. You'll be able to find them at that link. Okay, so if you have any questions, again, if you can always drop any questions that you have in the chat, or you can email me if you don't feel comfortable doing that, info@yardofgreatness.com, and you can drop me a DM. Okay, so let's get into it. So the first one, okay, the first thing that you can do if you are struggling or not sure if you can afford therapy, okay, is speak to your therapist, or if you're new to therapy and you're looking for one at the moment, see if they do a sliding scale. Okay, some therapists have a sliding scale, and what that means is they have different layers of what they charge depending on the client who is, maybe the client might not be working, or they might be unemployed, or they might work for the NHS. I know some people do give reduced fees for people that work for the NHS. Everybody's got their own way of doing things. I normally keep, one or two slots. I don't have that many spaces for my one-to-one clients. I keep it to 10. But I do normally keep a couple of slots available for people with, so that I can do like a reduced fee. But those spaces are actually taken at the moment, so I haven't personally got any spaces at the moment for that. But it's always worth asking, because people sometimes drop out, sometimes people come back or whatever. So it's always worth asking. So if you're interested in that, you can always drop me a DM, or drop me an email, info@yardofgreatness.com, and I'll be able to let you know. Okay, so sometimes therapists will actually put it on their website. If they don't put it on their website, okay, always email them and ask them, because you just don't know. You just don't know. Okay, you just don't know what that they might have it. And also with everything that's going on, you don't know that people might they might actually have some more spaces than normal because of what's happening at the moment. So it's always, if you don't ask, you don't get. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, a sliding scale. Number two, okay, you could start having, instead of, if you're having your sessions weekly, you could go down to having them fortnightly for a while until things maybe settle down. Okay, fortnightly sessions, obviously it's not ideal, because there might be you might find it difficult with the continuity and stuff like that. Or something else that you could do, actually, rather than doing it fortnightly, you could ask your therapist if you could do just do twice a month. So it might be that you have 2 sessions back to back, and then you have two weeks off, and then you have another 2 weeks, if that makes sense. So at least in that way, there's some continuity that can happen, and you feel like you're still progressing with stuff. Otherwise, if you decide to just do it fortnightly, what may happen is you might find that the sessions and sometimes can be about just catching up rather than actually following on from the previous week. So a couple of things there for you to think about. Okay, so just ask your therapist if if you can change to fortnightly. The other thing that I'll say about doing stuff fortnightly is, if you're in a weekly slot, they're quite often the therapist can sometimes have the weekly slots as that they're like prime slots. So if you ask a therapist and you want to go to fortnightly, it might be that they may have to move the time, because obviously, if there's limited slots, if the therapist has got a limited slots, you might have to move to a time that's maybe not as popular to do fortnightly, because then the therapist has to get another person to kind of fill the other weeks that you're not there, if that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, ask the therapist about fortnightly. It's worth asking. It's worth figuring it out. It just means that you will have an opportunity to continue with your therapy, but then it would just ease the pressure a little bit around how much you're paying and stuff, if that's a real concern for you. Okay, so think about fortnightly sessions or twice monthly sessions. All right. The third thing that you can do is have group therapy. Okay, now I know before you all start thinking, oh no, I don't really want to say stuff in front of other people, there are so many benefits to having group therapy, okay, that are very different from doing one-to-one. Yes, when you do your one-to-ones, you get to have a full hour with the therapist, and you get to, you can pour out whatever's going on for you, and you have that experience. But when you're actually in a group, okay, not only do you get the feedback from the actual therapist itself, but you also understand the therapeutic process that happens when you're actually in relationships with people, and there's a lot to be learned from that. So I think that it's definitely worth considering. And if you're in a group, working within a group of people can be significantly cheaper. Now, one of the things that I offer, okay, as part of my practice is we've got the book club that's coming up, or the study circles I'm calling it, and I'm going to be looking at, there's 4 books that have been selected, okay, for the next study circle, which it starts next Thursday. Doors open tomorrow, okay, for you to purchase if you've been following these live streams, and it gives you an opportunity to use the book that's chosen as an anchor, okay, and then what happens is, obviously, with the sharing and people giving feedback and people sharing about what's going on for them, that group experience becomes a group therapeutic experience. Okay, so it's not just that's why I don't really want to call it a book club, because it's not a book club. Okay, we read the book live. We you get an opportunity to learn how to think more critically. We unpack what the topics that come up, okay, that are read live in the session, and then everybody who's in the group, they share how the passage that's been read, how it impacts them, how they feel about it. I might obviously share things from a therapeutic perspective. I share things from a cultural perspective as well. And with the critical thinking thing, there are journal prompts and resources that I will also share as part of the group, so that you will have the opportunity not only to gain knowledge from the book itself, but from the from the therapeutic group process, if that makes sense. So if you're interested in joining the study circle, which begins next Thursday, you can click the link in my bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. Now, the 4 books that have been selected are this one, okay, The Black Woman Millionaire. It's an amazing book that talks about money trauma, written by the amazing Dr. Venus Oprah. I absolutely love her work. So with the cost of living crisis and everything going on at the moment as well, this would be the ideal one to be chosen, because obviously, thinking about money trauma, thinking about everything that's going on now, this book, will help you to understand our relationship with money in terms of our history, with our ancestors being enslaved, and help you understand your own relationship with money as it relates to your family and all the rest of it. All your own money behaviours will unpack with this book. The other books as well that have been chosen as well, we've got this one, My Body Is Not an Apology, by Sonia Renee Taylor. The other one is, what's the other ones? I've forgotten. The other one is what's her name? The Nat Ministry. Okay, now her book is not out until 2 weeks time. Okay, but anyway, the first week that we're going to be doing is going to be more like a welcome session. Okay, but her book, Rest is Resistance, is coming out the following Thursday. And the last book is, what's the last book? Oh, Communion. Communion by Bell Hooks. Okay, I don't know what I've done with that one. I'm probably reading bits of it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. So this is the fourth and final book. Okay, so if any of these books appeal to you, okay, we've got Communion, The Body's Not an Apology, and The Black Woman Millionaire. Okay, click the link in my bio. You can actually vote on which book you would like to choose, and ideas will be, the final book will be revealed tomorrow. So if you haven't voted already, click the link in my bio and actually go and vote so that we can choose the book that we're going to be studying from next week. Okay, so group therapy, you know, the book club, the study circle is a great opportunity for you to do that. Okay, and it's much cheaper than having one-to-one therapy. So that's number 3. Okay, number 4 is low-cost therapy. Okay, so if you go to BATN, the Black and Asian Therapist Network, they actually have a page on there where there are different resources, organisations, you know, different therapeutic services that they offer for you know, for people of colour, basically black people, people of colour, that are specifically geared towards us. So they'll be culturally focused and all the rest of it. So if you go to the Black and Asian Therapists Network, it's BAATN, BATN. Okay, BATN is an amazing organisation run by Eugene and his team, and you know, basically it's run basically for all the black therapists in the UK, and they do a lot of work, yeah, just basically making sure that our voices are heard within the profession of therapy, as black therapists. So whether you're a therapist, actually, you know, when looking for community, or looking for somewhere to advertise your services, or whether you're a service user, you're somebody, a person of colour, black person, that you're looking for, you know, specifically a therapist that is very culturally aware and all that kind of stuff, go to BATN. I've been using their services for years, actually I need to register myself on there as well when I finish my when I finish my BSCP thing. But yeah, so go to BATN and you'll find some information on there about low cost. If you just type in low cost services, low cost or free services BATN, there's a page that will come up and it will give you all the information that you need in order to do that. Okay, so number 4, low cost therapy, go to BATN. Okay, number 5 is the recovery rooms. Okay, so you know, whether you're I think it's important to say first and foremost is that when I talk about recovery and all the rest of it, people automatically go to, oh, you know, well, I'm not an alcoholic, or I don't do drugs, or whatever. Recovery covers a wide spectrum of things that our behaviour becomes repulsive, whether it's food, whether it's you know, shopping, whether it's gambling. You know, there's so many different relationships. You know, if you find yourself in compulsive relationships or whatever, there are so many different recovery rooms, types of recovery. Okay, if you Google it, you know, 12-step recovery rooms or whatever, you'll get untold amount of different types. Okay, and so I'm not saying that necessarily is a substitute for therapy, but it's somewhere that you can go for support. You know, as those of you that have been following me for a long time know that I've been in recovery myself since 2009, and I still go to meetings. Okay, I still go to meetings, depending on what's going on for me at the time. You know, I tend to go to the meetings that, you know, that are resonant with me at the moment. It can be for different things, but the reason why I've stayed in recovery so long is because I know it works. Sometimes I fall off the wagon, sometimes I'm, you know, really plugged in, but whatever's happening in my life, I know that there's always somewhere that I could reach out to. And actually, I know, obviously I'm a therapist, and I know a lot of therapists that actually that are in recovery and that go to these recovery meetings. So quite often, if you go to these recovery meetings, if you go to you know, if you actually participate in the meetings and whatever, and you decide to work the steps, you decide that you're going to work the 12 steps, there's a lot of therapists that actually go to the meetings. So whether you're, you know, hearing other people share, or sponsorship, or doing outreach, you know, I do outreach with people that you know, that are also in recovery. Obviously they might not know that I'm a therapist and stuff, but it just means that the type of support that you're going to get in recovery, you know, is quality, especially if you're getting support from somebody who's been in recovery a long time, or somebody like myself who's a therapist. Okay, and there are a lot of people in recovery that are therapists that are that do have that are in helping professions. Okay, so don't denounce it. So whatever's going on for you, you know, obviously the recovery rooms are absolutely free. You don't have to pay for them either, which is amazing. You just turn up, to the meeting, okay? You don't even have to share if you don't want to. You know, I went to recovery meetings for years without sharing anything before I felt comfortable to be able to share. So you can just go there and just check it out and just see. But if you're struggling with you know, being able to pay for your therapy, or you decide that you can't pay for therapy and you have to stop for whatever reason, you know, particularly money, if we're talking about it within the context of the cost of living crisis, then your recovery rooms is you know, is something that you can do to help support you. You know, as part of my journey, I've always been in therapy, to be fair. But I've, you know, even when I was in recovery, I've always done as part of my recovery process, I've always done therapy and recovery, because the recovery space helps me understand what it means to be in relationship with others, and my going to therapy has helped me understand my relationship with myself, and also I get an hour to kind of talk to somebody about what's going on for me. So I've always found the recovery rooms really helpful. So I know it's difficult, but just try it, okay? Just try it. And if you're struggling financially, recovery rooms are a really good support network. Hi, thanks for joining. So that's number 5, okay, the recovery rooms. Number 6, okay, number 6. Now this one is not a substitute for therapy, but again, it's a way that you can get support, okay? So this is about web support, okay, support on the internet. So an example of that is watching this live stream, watching my live streams, okay? If you go to YouTube, okay, my handle on YouTube is still at Yard of Greatness, okay? I have got hundreds of videos on there, okay, about different ways that you can support yourself, different things that you can do, you know, depending on what you've got going on, whether it's relationship stuff with family members, or, you know, how to practice self-love. I have got untold hundreds of videos, okay, on this platform, on my YouTube channel, on my Facebook page, okay? So you can use the internet, okay, to help you to get support. Okay, it's not direct feedback, depending on what you're going on, but if you've got a specific issue that you've got happening, then you can, you know, I'm sure there's not that many topics that I haven't done a live stream about. Okay, so you can find a lot of stuff on my as I said, on my social media stuff, podcasts as well. There was hundreds of podcasts out there, okay, hundreds of podcasts, and you know, there's loads of other people that have been doing live streams as well. And so just Google it and see what you can find, you know, see what you can find and get that support. You know, I listen to podcasts and stuff all the time. You know, I listen to podcasts all the time. I listen to audiobooks as well. You know, you'll be surprised what you can find online. But as long as you're, you know, if you are having a tough time with money, it's about not just kind of throwing out everything, going, well, I can't afford to have therapy, so I'm not going to do anything. Okay, the reason why I really wanted to do this today is because I wanted you to understand that there are alternative ways, or there are other things that you can do, okay, until, you know, things shift for you again and you'll be able to afford having therapy again like you were before. So if you're worried about your finances and you're worried about how things will happen with therapy, you can maybe incorporate some of these things, you know, with your well-being, to make sure that you're still maintaining your sense of self, your sense of well-being and all the rest of it, in terms of some sort of therapeutic practice, okay, until such time where you can afford to go back to therapy, okay? So use internet support, use resources and stuff on the internet. There's loads of therapists on social media and stuff as well. If you're interested in specific therapists, okay, I'm just trying to think, I should probably recommend a couple. There's a woman called Sonia, okay, her second name has escaped me. But if you're following me on Instagram, okay, you'll find her in there. She's a therapist. She lives in the States. Her work's amazing. You can find loads of stuff on her. I'm just trying to think what other therapists that I rate in terms of culture. I'm gonna have to get back to, maybe that's a separate live stream that I'll do. Or I'll do it as a separate post on my Instagram. So Sonia Ross, thank you, Gloria. Yes, Gloria, thank you for that. Yes, Sonia Ross, that's the one. So if you're not following Sonia Ross already, please follow her. She's amazing. Me and her, you know, we've known each other for a few years. I've asked her to come into my group. She's done it. You know, I've done live streams with her. She's been in my group, you know, to teach a few things about, you know, femininity and the embodiment and all that sort of stuff. and she's very much on the same sort of vibe as me in terms of cultural context and supporting black women and all that sort of stuff. So follow Sonia Ross as well. You get a lot of juice out of her content as well. So please follow her. I'll do a separate live stream another time if I can think of I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but Sonia is definitely somebody that you should follow in terms of that. Right. So that's number 6. Number 7, okay, is it your money or is it your mindset? Okay? If you're struggling to afford therapy, is it really about the money or is it really about your mindset? And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times we think that we can't afford certain things, but what it's really about is there's issues around your emotional relationship with money. Okay? It's more about your emotional relationship with money. And what I mean by that is there is such thing as money trauma. Okay? And what I mean by that is it's really understanding what emotions are tied to your money. So it might not necessarily be that you can't afford to have therapy. It might be that you have a very painful, chaotic relationship with money, which means that your finances behind the scenes are not, they're not healthy. Okay, so an example of that might be that you don't know, you don't really know how much is in your bank account. You're not really looking at your bank account. You don't have a spending plan. You don't know how much interest you're paying if you've got any credit cards. You're writing checks or you're paying for things. You're going into your overdraft regularly. You don't know what your overdraft, interest is and all of that kind of stuff. So you're kind of in survival mode around your money, and you don't really know what your income or your outgoings are, and all of these things that are going to help you make better financial decisions, because internally there's a trauma, there's a chaos, there's anxiety, there's perfectionism, there's all of these things that are kind of linked to your money, and all of that is linked to your relationship with how your parents manage money. What did they pass down to you around that? It's also about the fact that a lot of our ancestors were enslaved, and this is going really deep now. Okay, our ancestors were enslaved, and so our bodies were used as commodity for things, and the fact that a lot of our ancestors as well on the plantations, they never got they worked for free. Okay, our ancestors on the plantations worked for free. Okay, so it's understanding the psychology of money. Okay, this is what financial therapy is. And if we do this book, if this book is the book that we decide to do, The Black Woman Millionaire, these are the types of conversations and these are the types of things we're going to be unpacking. Okay, we're going to be looking at financial therapy. We're going to be looking at money trauma. We're going to be looking at money within the context of culture and what it means to be living under the system of racism, being a black person, and our relationship with money. How has that changed our relationship with money? How has that changed our relationship with wealth? How has that changed within our ability to be prosperous and to be abundant, and to think that we're allowed to charge, if you're self-employed or whatever, do we feel comfortable charging for things? Do we have money shame? Okay, whenever we look at our bank account, or whether we think about charging somebody a fee or whatever, do we find it really painful to be able to send somebody an invoice, or to be really firm and clear about your price if you're telling somebody a price about something? Okay, these are all things that are all linked to the psychology of money. They're all linked to financial therapy. Okay, so this might be the reason why you think that you can't afford therapy, because you don't have clarity. You don't have clarity around your money, and you don't understand what's happening financially with what's going on for you emotionally. Okay, so therefore it becomes so chaotic that you're constantly in survival mode. And again, this is stuff that's been passed down to us through the generations, and it's also stuff that you might have carried on. You've learnt those behaviors and you're just carrying them on, and you don't really understand them. And I think this is something that came up with in my group last month. I did because of the cost of living crisis and stuff, I did a masterclass on this very topic, actually, around money trauma and the money therapy. And a lot of people spoke about how when they think about money, they talk about money. When they have to deal with money, there's anxiety that comes up, there's shame that comes up, there's secrecy that comes up, and people don't, there's a charge. There's a really painful charge that comes with having to deal with money, and a lot of us, we think about when I think about other money people, money experts, if you want to call them that talk about money, they talk about the practical things. Okay, well, you need to set a budget, and you need to stop overspending, and you need to do this, and you need to do that, and they'll give you all the practical tips, but no one is really talking about the trauma of money. Why is it that people overspend? Why is it that we feel so much anxiety and trauma and pain and shame around money? Nobody really talks about those aspects of it, because if it was as simple as, oh, set yourself a budget and all the rest of it, people would be doing it. People would be doing it. Okay? And the reason why us, especially us as black people as a community, find it difficult to do all of those things and have honest conversations about money is because we've still got a lot of trauma around money as a community, and we're not talking about it. Not only are we not talking about it, but we're not dealing with it. Okay, so if you resonate with anything that I've said and you would like to do that book, The Black Woman Millionaire, okay, hear her story and learn how to understand your own patterns around money trauma, click the link in my bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. What you'll find there is you can sign up for my mailing list. If you there's a free download PDF that you can download, 15 wellness books for black women. That will add you to the mailing list, and then tomorrow when the doors open, okay, for the first class, which is next Thursday, you'll be the first to know, and you can sign up. You can sign up for the study circles, which start next week, and you can vote for the book. Okay, whether you're going to join or not, you can still vote for the book if that's something that you want to do. And then we'll study the book. We'll study the book for the next. It's not going to be like a couple of weeks. Okay, we're going to be studying that book over the next few months. Okay, we'll read live in the session. And depending on what heart work there is, when I call heart work homework. Basically, it's not going to be stuff that you're going to be doing at home. It's stuff that we will actually do in this session, whether it's talking about questions that are in there, or just reflecting on what she's saying, or there might be exercises that she wants us to do as a group. All of those things that we will do live in the group, so that we can all get the most out of it. Okay, if you're interested in doing that, okay, that book, The Black Woman Millionaire, is going to be the book that is going to be, that we should be doing in the next session. So click the link in the bio, vote, and join the mailing list so that you can be notified when it opens. Okay, so that's number 7. Really think about whether it's money or whether it's mindset that's bothering you. Okay. The last thing I can do, I'm going to give you 3 books, okay, that are about financial therapy. Okay, if you can't afford to join, or you're not you're not ready to do that work yet, I can suggest 3 books for you to read. Obviously, the first one is The Black Woman Millionaire. Whether you decide to do it in the study circle or not, that's still an amazing book that you can do on your own. Well, it's going to be difficult, more harder for you to do it on your own, because obviously, there's a lot of stuff in there that could be quite triggering for you, and you without having a support network, okay, it might be quite difficult. I would always suggest that something like that you would do in a group. But anyway, I'm going to give you the books anyway. So there's that one. There's another one called Heart, Mind, Money by Vangile I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, Makwaka. Okay, she's an amazing money coach. Okay, she's got a great podcast, and she talks as well about a lot of money trauma. She's from South Africa, black South African, and her work's amazing. She's a money coach, and she talks a lot about money trauma. She talks about her own journey where she got herself out of debt. I think she was $60,000 in debt or something like that, and she managed to get herself out of it. And she talks very poignantly. She talks about, she quite often shares the podcast with her students, and they all share their own journey. And there's so many inspirational stories on there. I mean, you'll be blown away by it. So I will actually, when I finish this live stream, I will put the names of the suggestions for the books in there, so then you can go in and you can Google them and stuff like that. But oh, what's that? My phone's going. I'm sorry about that. So I will put them in the comments, okay, when that's finished. So the last one, the final one, is number 8, is start an account, a wellness account for yourself, and just put a little bit of money in there. Okay, this is what I used to do. Okay, when I first started, I had a separate bank account which was purely for my wellness. Okay, so I just put whatever money I could afford. Some months it would be £10, some months it would be £50, some months it might be £100. I just put a little bit of, and even though I might not be able to afford my therapy at the particular moment, I had that little account, okay, so that when there was enough built up in there, or I felt like I could comfortably put regular money in there to pay for the upkeep of my therapy. But in the meantime, I'm putting that little investment for myself, okay, inside that bank account. Okay, so get into the habit of doing that. That's a really nice thing that you can do for yourself, is putting something in that little account for you to know that when there's enough in there, okay, that you can actually start to have therapy. All right, or whatever whatever thing that you decide is going to be right for you, maybe whether it's group therapy or low cost or whatever it is, that you've got that little account there, that little fund. And to this day I've still got that account. It's my play account now. If there's a little outfit that I like, or if there's something that I want to buy for myself, or I want to go somewhere, I want to go on a retreat or something like that, that account is there for me to spend for my well-being, and I'm not allowed to spend that money on anything else. I'm not allowed to transfer it to do anything practical. That money is for me to look after myself. So whether you decide that you're going to do therapy or not, I always suggest that people do that, because I think it's a really nice thing to do for yourself. And as black women, we're not always great at taking care of ourselves. We're so good at taking care of other people and looking after other people's needs that we don't always take care of ourselves. And so having that account, and sometimes I I don't always spend the stuff that's in there, to be fair. Sometimes I'll think, there's money in there now. You need to do something, to treat yourself to something, or book a massage, or do something with it. I know if there's too much money in that account, I know it's a red flag. Okay, it's a red flag, because I'm not looking after myself in some respects, because there should be money coming out of that account for me to look after for me to look after myself. Okay, and you deserve the same. You deserve the same. So that's it in terms of what I've got for you today. So that's 8 things, okay, that I've shared with you about what you can do if you can't afford therapy. So I'll just run through them again really quickly. Number 1, ask your therapist if they have a sliding scale. Okay. Number 2, do they have? You could go to fortnightly sessions. Okay. Number 3, group therapy. If you're interested in this study circle group therapy thing that I'm going to be doing, again, click the link in my bio. Number 4, low-cost therapy. Go to BATN, the Black and Asian Therapist Network. They have a page with low-cost services. Okay, and some of it's free as well. All right. Number 5, if you're in recovery, use your recovery rooms. Okay, go to more meetings. Go to your sponsor. Go to find action partners or whatever. Find study buddies or whatever, wellness buddies. You can do all these things in the recovery rooms. Okay, it's not just about drugs and alcohol. There's a wide spectrum. If you Google 12-step recovery rooms, there'll be loads of different ways that you can engage with this. Okay, it's not a substitute for therapy, but it's a support. Okay. Number 6, web support. Okay, follow people on social media. Okay, follow other therapists on social media. Again, I've got loads of stuff on this platform, YouTube, Facebook, wherever it is. I've got loads of free content. You can watch my live streams. Okay, Sonia Ross is another amazing therapist that I've suggested before. Follow her. Go and look at her live streams as well. Her stuff's amazing for black women. All right. That was number 6. Number 7. Okay, do the work around. Is it money, or is it your mindset? Okay, do you have money trauma? Do you get really anxious? Do you find it really difficult to kind of connect with money? Okay, and there was 3 books I suggested: The Black Woman Millionaire, Heart, Mind, Money by Vangile Makwaka. Okay. And the 3rd one is The Financial Anxiety Solution by Lindsay Bryan Podvin. The Financial Anxiety Solution by Lindsay Bryan Podvin. Sorry, this is difficult names today. Okay, so those are 3 books about money trauma and financial therapy that are really great. Okay, that's number 7. And number 8, the last one, start a bank account. Okay, that's specifically for your well-being. So whether you use it for therapy or whatever, just have a bank account, put what you can afford. Even if it's £5, £1, whatever it is, put what you can afford every week. Before you know it, there'll be a nice little nest egg in there for you to be doing some sort of well-being for yourself, whether you choose to do therapy or whatever it is. All right, but start that account. Okay, any questions at all? send me a DM, or you can send me an email, info@yardofgreatness.com. If you have any questions about anything that I've shared, you know, please just let me know. If you know someone that might benefit from this, that's struggling with, you know, their finances, that wants to have therapy or in therapy already and not sure how they're going to continue, please share this with them. Okay? And if you're interested in joining the book club and you would like to do the Black Woman Millionaire with us, or any of the other books that I did a live stream about last week, click the link in my bio and vote. Okay? The voting closes, is it closed today or closed tomorrow? I think it closes tomorrow, closes today, I think, actually, because then tomorrow I'm going to be announcing, you know, what book it is going to be. Okay, so get voting. Okay, because it's not going to be very long. Thank you so much for joining me. I always appreciate you hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. All right, take care, everyone. Bye.